but we aren't going to be able to vote on anything tonight. I don't think there's going to be anything that is going to be up for vote anyway. Everybody should have received the initial copy of the minutes from the last meeting through their email. If not, we can just table the approval of those minutes until the next meeting. Tonight's going to be kind of more of an informational meeting more than anything, just to bring you up to speed on a number of things. We'll probably start out with the report from Sean on the Gateway project before we get too much further into anything.
All right, the Gateway project. I know we've been doing this for quite some time. I did get access to the system, and I was assigned a facilitator, I guess we'll call him, a gentleman that actually works alongside with us and reviews the documents. So with the help of the girls at Lake Plains, Colleen and Patty, they worked with me. Ted from the state, who basically reviews it. He's like a previewer of our documents before it goes on to the next stage for approval. So we submitted all the documents, made sure everything was uploaded to the system. We submitted it. It's the first time it's actually been submitted because they told us, you know, you would know if it was submitted, I guess, prior to it, but he said nothing's ever been submitted. And they came back after 2 to 3 days with a series of questions and clarifications that have to be done. Some of them being the 990s, some tax reports, additional filings, additional clarifications of questions that either John or I asked or answered in this Gateway project. There's a series of questions they ask about from the organizational chart to the funding and various topics. So he made recommendations back to us. I shared that with Wade and Steve and the board, so they're aware of where that stands. Those questions have to be addressed. The 990s need to be filled out, completed for the current year, and then resubmitted. Once that's done, if he reviews it and doesn't have any initial findings, then he passes it on to, I don't know what you call it after that. It's like the approvers, I'll use as a term. And that at that point, once that's done, then my understanding is they will then start funding us again. Even though we have a contract, we get $25,000 a year. We've submitted a number of vouchers, but they're never going to pay on any of the vouchers because the Gateway isn't done. And unless it's done, we will never get any funds back. So it's something that has to be done. We're deficient in it. It's been going on for 4 years. I think Lake Plains has had it, and talking with Colleen and the girls there, and they're more than willing to help us with it. I got a number of people out around the state that have assisted us with it as well and asking some questions so we don't get ourselves into any type of situation we don't want to be in. So I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions afterwards, I'm more than happy to answer them. So that's where that stands as of now. So hopefully we'll have it completed. I'm going to have everything completed and resubmitted, you know, once you review it, and Steve, and we'll submit again probably within the next 2 weeks, I'd say. I'll work on it again over the weekend to get it complete.
Thank you. Sean has done a tremendous amount of legwork on this and accomplished a lot in a very short amount of time as far as the Gateway project is concerned. The other thing I wanted to bring up, like I said, it's going to be kind of an informal meeting tonight, just to bring up to speed on a lot of things. We've got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of repairs to be made as far as the council goes. We've got boxes and boxes of old records that we've just acquired. There was even unopened mail and all kinds of things in the boxes. So it's a mess we're sorting out right now, but everybody's working on it very hard, and hopefully we'll get everything very organized in the near future. The other thing is our official office or place of business is going to be the Lake Plains complex in Batavia and Aldi's Plaza. That's going to include office space for us, record storage. We're going to be able to hold meetings and classes there if necessary. My plan for now is to just continue having the meetings here. It seems to be a convenient spot that everybody's in agreement with. But Lake Plains is also going to have a fixed phone number for the Big Lakes Council, where the phone will actually be answered. Messages will be taken during business hours, Monday through Friday. Andrew is setting us up a internal email system that I'm going to ask him to go over with everybody here shortly, as well as scanning all our mail and recording any mail that comes in, any correspondence, so we'll have a record of everything, and everything's going to be filed there. Actually, at this point, I think what I'll do is I'll have him give his report as well as a update on what he's got in place for us and what he's trying to get accomplished for us.
Well, we had quite a lot of classes, and then we have a whole bunch of flyers up here if you guys want to grab those for upcoming ones. Just some letters of intent, peeking, just getting on board with blood glucometry and nasal Narcan. A good reminder is for the Narcan, for any BLS or BLSFR agencies, we can supply naloxone at no cost, as long as we can do the training for the agency, and then we can do a shared access type of policy, and then we can supply that Narcan at no cost for you guys. So all you have to do is just have a report filled out whenever it gets used. We get it, and then you get a naloxone kit free of charge. So another friendly reminder, REMSCO skills approaching July 1st. It should be received by our program agency at that time in order for you guys to be compliant for the REMSCO skills. That's it for the Lake Plains area. We did quite a lot with Big Lakes into setting up a lot of things. There is a website now. It's biglakesremsco.org. It's up and running right now. There's just the minimum type of stuff that's on there. Just some contact information. We're going to be setting up an email system where it's going to be like chair@biglakesremsco.org or vice chair, etc. And we're going to be setting that up so that way whenever emails get in, they automatically can get routed to whoever's the chair at that time. So if it does change or vice chair changes, it's going to be a system that's already in place that can be automatically directed to that email, so it won't change for years. So that way you don't have to deal with personal emails. Set up a little cubicle space for Big Lakes for file storage. What we're going to do is whenever mail gets in, is it gets scanned into the system, and there's going to be a shared file access, so whoever needs access to it is going to have access to know exactly what comes in, so that way they know at the general Big Lakes region what's going on, whether it's letters of intent, pads, anything of that nature. Then the email system, we try to update all the counties to make sure your email is accurate, because there's been, I guess, reports that they haven't received emails, etc. There's a whole program that it's free for use for the REMSCO. Is everybody numbers on there, whenever you guys get emails sent out, it'll automatically get recorded, so that way you'll know who opened it, if they opened it, if it got bounced back from the server, if their email wasn't receiving, so that way everything's all has reports on it, so that way you know who's getting emails and not. That's it for about right now.
Okay. Like I said, things are a little unstructured tonight, but with Lake Plains and with all the work that Sean's doing and Cheryl and Steve, we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of rebuilding or restructuring, so to speak, but, we're gonna take the task on and we'll get it done and we'll get everything back on the right track. Okay, from there, there's no correspondence to date. Like I said, it's gonna be greatly improved with the setup at Lake Plains. And like I said, unfortunately, in the boxes, we even found some unopened mail from this year and last year, and things like that. So hopefully that won't repeat itself in the future. At this point, I'll ask that Cheryl give the treasurer's report.
Beginning balance on 3/10/16 was $1,851.81. The balance as of today, 4/13/16, is $1,851.81. And Sean's going to be helping me a lot with getting everything in order and showing me what to do.
Yeah. Since the last meeting, there's no really any transactions. The vouchers for everything had to be submitted by the 9th of March from the last meeting. If you remember, I said because the state wanted to have everything closed out on the 10th. So we had to have everything submitted. So between then and now, there really hasn't been any transactions.
So we're getting the team together and we're working on the playbook now. But the next thing we'll move on to is the individual county reports. Start out with Orleans.
There was a training submitted by Orleans Training Academy up there for review. There's a fair coming up. I don't know, I mean, we need the Orleans County people, but I would entertain people from other counties to help out if they wanted to staff for a little bit. But other than that, I don't have anything.
C County.
Really, I mean, the only thing I know, I know the city tried to run a EMR. I was going to say the wrong one, but but unfortunately they didn't get enough students to actually run the class. I know the city is also entertaining the idea because of the rising cost of putting on a class versus the amount of funding they get back from a class. And if a student doesn't pass, they don't get reimbursed. The city's looking at trying to implement something to where they're going to charge the fire department for the class in advance of the student taking it, and they will get reimbursed when their student passes the class, because they don't want to pretty much be footing the bill for a student not passing. So they're looking at doing it with their basic class as well as the EMR. So pretty much.
Thank you.
Information.
Do we have a report from Niagara County? No report from Niagara County.
No, our meeting is tomorrow. Our county meeting is tomorrow.
All right.
So I don't know, there wasn't a whole lot that happened at the last meeting. There was obviously discussion about what had happened in the restructuring from our last meeting here. A lot of discussion about why the meetings don't rotate counties. Why they're always stationary here. Other than that, there didn't seem to be a whole lot of big issues that were brought up. So
Well, this seems to be the most popular location, but we're more than willing to listen to input from everybody as far as, because I know a few years back, that's what we used to do. It's kind of a rotating thing.
yeah.
I know I mean, they tried that when I first started here, is tried rotating it around in different counties, and you typically found that department or like Genesee County typically wouldn't make it toward Niagara County, but you'd still get Orleans, and vice versa if you started going too far out of the range. But I mean, I think it's a good idea as long as people are willing to either carpool or find a way to make it there and
Well,
actually
yeah,
attend
like I
it.
said, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
You know, if you're only willing to.
How big is
go,
your
like,
backyard,
I mean,
Luca?
Say that again?
How big is your backyard?
can do it there.
Okay, move on to old business. Pretty much the old business is everything that's in progress. All the advancements we've already made with Lake Plains, working on the gateway. Anybody else have anything they want to bring up under old business? New business? Jim?
Got a couple of things. The big topic in our educational is the new instructor exam. It goes into effect May 1st. You only have to take it once. There's been a lot of questions about it. It's really technical. Andy Johnson's asked us to call to the central office to talk to Liz Down. She's not here. I got a question here. Has anybody here on the sponsor side been notified that their test sites are now a regional test site? It's only Erie County. They took 8 classes and put them in one building at one time. I don't know how that's going to work, but there's concerns there. They're taking the Erie Community North and the Erie Community South and put them at the Fire Training Center one night, 8 classes. They're just testing it there. I know it's a bit out, but November 15th of this year at the Niagara County Public Safety Building, EMS Bureau Director Lee Burns is coming out to talk. And with John Schultz, we're kicking some ideas around. It's going to be kind of like a town hall meeting. As long as there's no tomatoes or arrows, she said she will show up. She'll kind of give it like a state of the EMS, but open it up to all EMS fire providers. So it's going to be a regional wide thing. We just the date is booked at the Niagara County. We basically have the entire big training facility for the whole night. It'd be nice to fill it up, but I don't know. I know it's a ways out, but we wanted to not do it now. It's too quick. Didn't want to do it in the summer, so we're going to do it before hunting season there on November 15th. Another thing we had going, I'll keep it generic. We have an EMT between this county and Niagara County running around as an imposter. We have him so far with 4 agencies that he has provided service with. I'm not handling the case, but Ed Major is, and we will have the state police involved with it. We have a state trooper that's an EMT. He loves doing these cases. So it'll be in his hands shortly, not already in his hands. So that'll be, if you have any concerns about this guy may have been in your agency, see myself or Cheryl, we know the agency, we know at least 4 agencies already that he tried submitting false documentation as EMT. That's all, unless anybody has any questions. Oh, you want to talk about the meeting we're going to have today for Tom?
Yes, Jim and myself and Tom from DOH as well as probably Sean, Steve, and Cheryl, and probably the trustees as well. We'll be having a meeting May 3rd at the Lake Plains Complex in Batavia, just to discuss a lot of things that need to be brought up to date, or so we can get ourselves compliant with everything as far as the Department of Health and the state of New York and the Big Lakes Council. That's going to be kind of an informational meeting for me. A lot of this is very new to me, so it should be a very productive meeting, I'm sure. And then we'll bring the report, the results from that meeting to our next meeting after that with the council here.
Do you know what time?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
It's going to be May 3rd, 11 a.m. at the Big Lakes Complex. Or, I mean, the Lake Plains. Anyone else have anything under new business?
What time? How about a time on November 15th? Oh, 17th? Sorry about this. I don't know. You may have said it. I may not have heard. I'm sure I did. My first mistake this year, but
Again, I apologize for the meeting type being a little rough around the edges, but we'll get everything all smoothed out and turn this into a well-oiled machine in the very near future, I hope. We're gonna be working really hard to get everybody's, contact information as well as, everything else that we're gonna need for our internal email system and just our, communications back and forth, in between meetings and for important issues. Nobody else has anything under new business?
And maybe just an update, last month, or this last meeting, we had a letter from the New York State Department of Health in regards to the BLS first responders update package that was not received. There was 5 departments in Genesee County that were notified. All 5 have been working on it, or I can't speak for all 5, but they're all working on it, and some have already submitted to New York State, to Albany, with their package.
The other thing that's out there right now, and I know the REMAC is looking at it, as well as some of the medical directors are for, some are against the basics, doing the 12 lead EKGs and then transmitting them to hospitals. It seems to be kind of a split decision on that one, as far as support from a lot of the physicians and a lot of the agencies.
Policy statement came out this weekend.
No other new business.
Next meeting.
Or calendar handy.
Yes, you're saying.
June 8th. June 8th at 7 p.m. and it will be here. Motion to adjourn.
What about
from-
training and education? I know we had discussed that before, but
You're probably gonna be getting a lot of long form sponsor renewals that you would think. I got like 15 coming up in the region, so I can't remember how many here, but you're probably gonna have a fair amount.
Okay.
You bring that list with you. Your 2 biggest things you're gonna have come forward, you know, in the next, I can't say this, is the sponsorship. You never know when a CON or expansion territory and all that stuff's gonna come up for somebody too. You can ask the Wyoming Weary, you know, what's going on there. I mean, they're just buried with the expansion of territory issue right now. It's taking up hundreds and hundreds of hours. The sponsorship stuff will be coming, you know, June, July, from the sponsors.
You showed me we're in the short form right now. Just go with the food norm today. Got all 3.
I'll go down and take it to them, okay?
Okay.
Well, I mean, the sponsorships are, you know, one of your things by your bylaws and also the
Right.
contract. It's a big thing for these agencies. I don't know of any CONs or expansion, but that's something you know, when you're rebuilding, you know, you wanna have a committee for that because that stuff can pop up within a day.
Right.
That's how the, you know,
We're gonna resubmit ours from COBA.
see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know,
It's just about done.
yeah, that stuff, and you have, you know, your statutory authority and timeframes on those. And then your bylaws, you need to look at what your fee schedule's gonna be, because some of the fee schedules are outdated, you almost have to update it every year, I mean, it's very expensive. You start getting, you know, hearing officers and court stenographers and bailing and stuff like that. So when something comes up, and again, the lawyer says, you know, it may come up next week, and you got,
Right.
once you accept it, you have, the clock starts ticking on
Right.
that stuff. As you can see, you know, they become very, public, as, you know, you're involved, you go with the one in Springfield, very public. It's out there, the media's there, and you're your scrutiny, so you wanna make sure it's one of your rebuilding components, and you have a strong base, you know, to
Absolutely.
take on that stuff.
Absolutely.
They can hop, like I said, you could have one tomorrow in the mail, you don't know.
Right.
And you may wanna have, I want, before the next meeting, if some of the sponsorship things come in, you may wanna have a T&E committee assigned and maybe look at them before, a half hour, an hour before the regular meeting to review it, so they report to the committee, as a whole, that's,
We kinda touched on that last night. We had an informal executive meeting last night. We're gonna have to be forming committees and basically, like I said, it's gonna be kind of a tear down and rebuilding process more than anything. And I'm looking
during
forward
your
to our
rebuilding,
meeting.
this stuff's your normal work is gonna come along, and, then you're gonna see the future.
Right. Any other new business? Motion to adjourn.
Can I have two names, I'm sorry? Justin Niederhoff.
Yeah, common spelling.
And then Lori Schwab. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.